our website is up like 300%. So we know that it's easier for them to find the information that they're looking for. Main Street accreditation, we just had the accreditation at the Village Council this past week, so congratulations to all of you. Went to the Main Street Conference in Boston, as you know, and we presented there on our Stronger Together platform. Stronger Together events with Lake Orion are continuing. Our next one is Thursday. And we have seen just an awesome response on social media, website, in our events, just in general. And we're actually hearing from the businesses right now that business is up, and it's up much earlier this spring, summer time than it has been in the past. So we're hearing great feedback just from people walking in their doors. State of the Union meetings, just everything that we've attended as the DDA and represented either in Oxford, Lake Orion, or Oakland County in general. We did updated work plans for all of our committees this year and just really streamlined that process to make everything, we're reporting everything better, we're making everything easier. We just are really getting our operations down better. So I'm very excited about that. Summer intern that we hired, who you'll be hearing from. Ladies night that just happened. I think that this just goes to show you after 2.5, almost 3 years of work, what we have gotten to. So instead of the DDA having to really hand-hold through this and the business owners, the businesses put this event together this past week. We came alongside just to promote on social and did a couple of lives, and super successful event. The businesses were so happy. They saw a ton of foot traffic. And I think it just goes to show when we have that momentum building, just how awesome it is just to continue it. Spring cleanup, that's just an example of the amazing things we did with volunteers this year. So we have had over the past 2 years, hundreds of volunteer hours, and we've worked with the LOFT program now to the point where we can just count on them almost every step of the way, and they come out. And that also, I think, is a great relationship that we have with the schools that we've built back. So just things like this, I feel like, are just little wins for us all. So I'm really proud of this team. Objectives going forward, we're going to talk about the TIP plan later tonight. Stronger Together Summer Social that's coming up, we'll touch on that. Our summer concert series, we just really upped our game this year. We have sponsors for every single week. We have our umbrella sponsor from Oxford Bank, which means that we're able to not only not spend DDA money, but also just have bigger events. We have more things going on, and we're able to get sponsored for everything that we're doing, which is incredible. Kimberly's going to talk about the open air farmers market. I'm really excited about where this has come to this year. She did a great job on that. And then just some of our different events there. Scarecrow Fest, Soup and Sweet Stroll, which is night, with the data that we can pull from Oakland County now with Placer AI. It just shows you how much our numbers are up. 21 to 22, 22 to 23. I mean, it's just incredible to see every single event has just gained momentum, and there are people coming into town and people from further out, which is really neat to see that they can track all of that. And then placemaking renovations. We're kind of in the thick of it now, where we've started the project behind NAPS, and now going through the fall, we're going to be doing a lot, and hopefully more to come. We're applying for quite a few grants right now, so hopefully that will just continue. So ladies, if you want to talk about your two topics, that would be great.
While we're kicking that around, Kelly, what's the status of the T-Mobile grant, calendar-wise?
Sure. So that one is an August project, and the reason why we pushed it to August is because Mr. Thomas is doing quite a bit of work with his 2-story tier behind Victoria's. So we had to do the project correctly, we had to wait until that is in the ground and then do the flat work from there, just so that it would be done right. We could have done it before, but we might have had to tear it up and spend more money in the long run, so we decided just to wait.
Well, good evening, everyone. This will be short and sweet, but Farmers Market, we're super excited about this year because our vendor demographics have spread since last year. So we're seeing a lot of diverse vendors. There's not a lot of duplication, which is exciting. We're seeing some new exciting things. There's freeze-dried fruits and vegetables and candy. There's pasties and lemonade. There's going to be fresh made on-site pizza from Kairos Pizza. There's seasonings, there's honey, there's syrup. We have some artists that are coming. We have some like creative artisan type products, home goods, pierogies. We have a coffee roaster, which will be there as well. Fresh made bread and ice cream and baked goods. So we're looking at having our vendors move into the parking lot this year just because of spacing. So we're super excited about that. I'm still getting daily requests from people that they want to participate, so we'll see how that goes. They have to pay the money, but we'll see how many actually follow through with that. But we're super excited. We're looking at about 25 right now. And then this afternoon, Reagan and I went out to the square to just chalk off and make sure we had enough space, and we had an individual come up and tell us that we're doing such a great job. I didn't share this with you because I forgot, but that we're doing such a great job. They're so happy. She's lived here for 25 years. She's never seen it look so nice, and she brings her children and her grandchildren down to the square to spend time, go out to dinner, have drinks, and just have a great time. And we were out last week, and we had somebody separate that also provided that feedback as well. So we're getting a lot of really, really positive feedback about what's happening downtown.
All right.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Can you coordinate a little bit with the Seymour Lake folks?
Yeah, so I met with Phil, gosh, before they even kicked off theirs, and we sat down and we kind of did a brainstorming session. It was at the point where he was about to hire his market manager. So we talked about how we wanted to try and synergize and make sure we weren't duplicating as much as possible. And I think it's not too much of a problem at this point just because they're focused primarily on food and produce, and we're splitting between food, produce, and artisan goods. So I would like, a goal of mine would be to sit down with the market manager and kind of get a little, training, so to speak, because it sounds like this gentleman this is something that he does and he's very adept to. I am not a market master, but I would love to learn. And so I would love to be able to sit down with him, but I know it's been a little hectic for them, just kind of rolling it out and getting it going. So maybe within the next couple months, I can sit down and do that with him.
One of the things too, this week, we had a vendor that has been over there on Saturdays reach out to us to see if he could have space here. So the first thing that we did is we contacted Phil and just said, hey, we just wanted to let you know this vendor reached out just so that they know that we're not trying to step on their toes, that they know we're trying to work with them.
Absolutely.
Good job. Thank you.
So one of my big projects this year is going to be updating our business directory for downtown. I met with Leanne and Grace with the promo committee, and we came up with, we're going to make a one-pager. I actually completed it. It's just showing the downtown businesses what we have to offer for them, what we can do. We put QR codes for the grants that we offer. I met with Erin, who does our website. I learned how to update all the things on there, and it was super cool to learn about. I plan to start updating the business directory on there as well, and that's about it.
So she's on foot, going to the businesses, meeting with them, making sure that we have updated contact information for not only the people who own it, but either a building owner or a manager of the business, just making sure that we're communicating with everybody that we should be. And then also giving them this information when she goes in there, and then also making sure that whatever they want on the website, that we have their website or their Facebook or whatever that looks like. So we have her running around, don't we?
And Erin gave the map of downtown, the good to go with all the addresses that I've got, so
Yep.
that should be coming out soon.
Yep, so we'll have those. That was from a grant this past year. Thank you. That was from a grant this past year, so all of those will be printed, but the county will be handling that financially, so.
So Reagan, on that last item you mentioned, you're gonna have a list of the businesses, is that what I'm hearing you say?
It's a map, so then it's going to have like numbers correlating to the map, and then it'll show you what their address and business name is.
It's like a directory chart.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a trifold that'll fold up, and then we'll be able to give it to all the businesses. We'll put them on the trolley. We'll have them at the village offices, so that, and it's broken into sections. So when somebody wants to say, where can I shop downtown, it'll have retail with all the businesses. restaurants with all the restaurants, things like that.
And we have a template, so when businesses change, we can just update.
So our plan is to update it online more frequently, but it'll probably only be like in print once a year, I would say, just because it's so costly to print. It would be so hard to do that consistently, but we can make those updates online so easy and for free, so we'll do that.
Cool.
All right. Gals.
Okay, so, anything else from our friendly and effective staff? Whether adjectives, I don't know. Amazing.
Put it out there.
Amazing.
Put it out there. That's fine. You're looking.
Okay, public comment on non-agenda items. Nobody's here, so let's move forward to our consent agenda, approval of our proposed agenda. For number 6A, approval of our meeting minutes.
If there are no corrections, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay. A second, any discussion? So let's do a, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Move forward. Okay. Do we want to do the police report and code enforcement separately?
We're all set then,
All right, just to make sure.
Kind of do the minutes at the same time.
Pardon?
Do it all at the same time.
Okay. Let's move on to the financials now.
Oh, but
We still have to make a motion. Go through it.
make a motion to approve the May 2023 meeting minutes if there are no corrections, and receive and file the police report and code enforcement report.
Second.
Okay. Seconded. Discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Sorry, I thought we included the first time. I'm not sure. Financials, financial statement of revenue expenditure reports.
Are
Comments?
we, are,
Yes.
Pete?
Question? The $64,554 for Birmingham Seal Coat for the Sewers Energy Grant, what have they done so far?
okay,
And why
so
are we
they-
paying in advance?
Sure, so they did the saw cutting already over there. They started the project, but they did require payment from us before it was completed this time.
Nothing?
Is there a reason why?
I don't know, to be honest with you. We went back and forth on it. I pushed back, but they were requiring this time, so I said, okay.
The question I would have going back to that, what guarantee do we have that where it gets done?
Yeah, we do have a contract that is signed with everything listed out that they will be doing. So it is under contract.
Because otherwise, you know, I hate bringing this up in discussion like this. I'm sorry I didn't talk about it beforehand in
Yeah.
the office with you, whatever. My concern with for something like this, we're paying them upfront money that they want to pay before they ever start the job. Yeah, we have a signed contract, but at the same time, what I would have included in there that they would have had to post a performance bond on top of that, and make sure that we're covered.
Joe, do you remember in that contract there wasn't there?
I don't recall.
Okay, I'll look into that, Pete, I'll check that. Joe knows that I went back and forth with them quite a bit on them requiring this before,
It
because,
was odd, though, to begin with.
yeah, so we did push back and forth. I would say that if we hadn't worked with them in the past and had projects completed and knowing them, then I would say that I would never have done that in the beginning, but at the same time, they have completed multiple projects from us in the past year.
And we paid them every time too, so it works both ways.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Okay.
One other quick comment. Thanks to Mr. Schultz for bringing it up. Seriously, a lot of these things slip through unless we catch those. Any comments about financial statements, revenue expenditure reports? No motion.
Make a motion to receive and file the financial statements and revenue expenditure reports and paying of the bills in the amount of $85,489.32.
And I'll second that. Discussion? Roll call, please, Kathy.
Schultz,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Golden, yes. Carrie,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Knopf,
Yes.
and Cook.
Yes.
Okay, passed. Let's take a look. Anything on the bill runs we're going to talk about there separately? Item 7B.
We just did it.
I know, if there's anything under there besides that we.
Okay.
All good. Okay, DDA reports, executive director report.
So I'm not gonna go back and backtrack on things I went over for the informational meeting, but some things that have been, we've been working on a lot is, there's the Route 2 grant through MEDC. So we are submitting a grant to try and figure out this party store. And I have a presentation that Les brought to me today, something that we've been working on, so I'm happy to share this after. But we are looking to acquire $700,000 from the MEDC, and then Mr. Thomas would put in $700,000 to match it. And it would be to purchase the party shop and then build 2 apartments above it and turn that back into 2 storefronts, how it originally was. So, you know, we love working with him. He's done a lot for us and the community. So we're excited about this one. The application process is quite grueling. I'm about 90% of the way done with this one. And then the second one is actually the same grant, but it is through Oakland County. So Main Street is taking projects from 11 communities and putting them all into one and asking for $4 million. And then we'll award out what we're looking for from each. So we put in a project for $300,000 to continue our placemaking, what we're doing behind Naps and Victoria's, and just continuing that throughout the district. So I'm working on getting that one finished. It's a little more time intensive just because the county is requiring us to do it a certain way so that they can compile the information and put it all together. So those are the 2 that we're currently working on. And then we had the bid process for the northeast parking lot, which we'll touch on later. Fall work, as I mentioned, for Victoria's. And we met with Rowe Engineering to get a quote on engineering behind that space. So that should be coming back soon, probably at the next meeting. You guys will review that one. It should be back by then. We talked to a couple potential new business owners that are looking for space in town. I worked with individual businesses on applying for Flagstar grants through Oakland County. These girls painted the Washington shed. It looks so much better. Thank you very much. Successful support of Ladies Night. We implemented the lighting finally in Washington Square. If you haven't seen it, it's beautiful. You know, we went round and round on figuring out how to get those lights from one side to the next, and with the wind, it was just not possible. So I think we did something really cool out there, coming down the red building on one side where the dentist office is, and then the lights are stringing the mural on the other side. So it looks really nice. I'm not sure if I put this on here, but I want to talk about some new kids activities for the park. We did a ton of communicating with the Oxford Leader. We placed ads for the concerts in the park and the markets that they did a buy one, get one for us to help us with the price this past week and then next week. All the committee meetings today, we hosted the huddle for the business owners, and we rolled out the new e-commerce site that we've been talking about. So now the next couple of weeks, the 3 of us will be working to get everybody on that platform and get everything uploaded. So I like to call it Oxford's very own Etsy. So the DDA, we put $1,500 into it, and that covered our entire everybody. So all of our businesses, the businesses aren't going to owe anything. They can upload as many products as they want. And the county is really putting a focus on this and launching it. So the county paid for the website in total, of $60,000 to launch this. So it's really, really neat. I'm really excited to start to get some of the businesses on there this week. And I think the businesses were excited too. They were on our call this morning, and it was really neat to see just how excited they got. I met with Oakland County, my pirate committee, as I like to call it, looking for some additional money there. They also have me working on some sponsorship opportunities for Main Street as a whole, and meeting with some of their executives so that we can roll them out. And really that'll come back to us if we can get some of those sponsorships, because they'll pass that money down to the communities. Prepped the concert series. I think it's going to be a great day this Thursday. We have the trolley running 12 to 9 this Thursday in support. We have all the businesses doing like a sidewalk stroll, or what we call sidewalk sales in the past. Angie has the national TV show coming in for 8 to noon on Thursday morning. And we're doing swag bags on the trolley to the first 100 people to ride the trolley. And we got really creative. Instead of people just doing 100 things and 100 swag bags, we have like Scott, who brought us gift cards today for free pizza, so that'll be in some of the bags, and then the arcade wristbands in some of the bags. So I think it'll really get people out and starting to like ride the trolley this week. Prep for the open air markets. We met with Lake Orion to do some additional sponsorship for the trolley. We had a couple of fixes on the trolley this month, with the hazards being fixed, and then just all the Facebook and Instagram, and continuing to grow both of those platforms. So it was a busy month, but it was great. That was a lot. Sorry. That's it.
Just a quick comment from me, as I recall when Kelly was first hired, it's been a big change on some of the things that you've tackled in the meantime. Like you said about doing the grants, that was something totally outside of your experience, and a lot of our meetings were, Mike Kelly do some more administrative
It's
work. So you've done a
completely
great job
shifted.
changing your focus.
Yeah, it has completely shifted, and I've actually come to love the grant portion of it. But I have to say, I used to always be on Facebook every single day, and I've really shifted that more to these ladies over here, and they kind of had to take it over, because so much of my time is more focused on the grant and the strategic part of it rather than those tasks. So I'm glad that I have a team to help me out, because I don't know how I would get everything done.
Grace?
I just wanted to say, like, the lights in the shed look absolutely phenomenal, and I just had a question, like, what is our plans for the use of the shed moving forward? So I know we'd use that at Christmas for, like, the kind of Santa workshop. Is it gonna hold maybe
The
the
games.
stuff, the games?
Yep. So our plan is to put some of the games in there, and some of the tables and umbrellas and things like that. One of the things that we would like to do is we're going to move the original big plastic casing that held some of the games and chalk and things to the park, because we would haul games out there for the kids every Thursday for concerts and things like that. And one of the things that came up through social media that really got me thinking this past month was there's not much to do in Centennial Park.
Yeah.
So our thought was to have some of those games that kids can access anytime and take out, and then, sidewalk chalk that if kids want to run around in the park, they can do that. So we're shifting all of that to the park this week, and then utilizing the shed in the square, so that we have things in both locations. So, and we're also going to put, we've just ordered umbrellas, the big, our huge tables over there in the park. We are going to just kind of dress it up a little bit. We have yellow umbrellas to go there to brighten it up. We're going to bring some of the red tables and chairs, the bistro, and we're going to have those set up in the park for concerts in the park, so people have more places to sit. And just kind of, and social district is expanded now into the park, so I think it'll look a little bit different for concerts now, and I think we're changing in the right direction.
That
So,
would be great.
yeah.
We'll just recommend not getting another Connect 4. I habitually pick up all the rings.
Thank you. Yes,
the other
we
side
do
of the
too.
street, that side of the street, like
Same.
almost every week.
Yes, well, we
Thank
did
you.
order sandbags to go on there, so hopefully it won't tip over now.
Okay.
So, yeah. But thank you for picking those up.
Before we start on the org committee, just want to thank you to Grace for helping with the outline for committee meetings. It's really nice to have a nice succinct format to follow. Okay, organization committee, first up to bat, as far as committees go, Mr. Schultz.
Yes, we had our meeting. Mr. Charles wasn't there, so we were able to forge ahead and try to get a whole lot of stuff done.
Oh, Pete.
All kidding aside, as far as the 2023 goals, we chose to hold that back to our July meeting when Rod is there to be able to have input with us and help formulate that, so we held off on that. We did talk quite a bit of updating, from Kelly as far as what the projects going on in the quads are, as far as the construction and everything, because we were looking for updates on that. We did talk in depth about the TIF plan. And again, we were waiting for information coming back from McKenna, which obviously we have to drop off to us tonight so we can take a review on that. There was some discussion on the trolley as far as where we are with the status on that, which you've already got information on that. And capital improvement projects are getting ready to kick off. We have that coming up later on in the agenda tonight to make a recommendation for that. And the budget obviously was already approved, so going good. And we're getting ready to start looking at our action items coming up. We've got some coming into the fall, some input. We're going to start trying to formulate some different things for the entire downtown, numerous different things. Anything from as far as the maintenance of all of our stuff to incorporate whether to adding to or taking from, whatever out of that. And that was it.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Schultz? Okay, next up, the Economic Vitality Committee report postponed to the 27th.
Yeah, I can give a quick update. So 3/4 of the committee was out of town when we would normally have our scheduled meeting. So we are trying to find a time to reschedule right now. I believe we're all recently back in town, so hopefully we'll have a date for that soon that works for everyone. We're looking, I think, at the end of the month, but we'll make sure that that has a public announcement with adequate time and everything before that meeting happens. But a kind of quick update, we've been working on an idea for a pilot project called Explore Oxford. So one of our goals for this next meeting will be to approve kind of an outline for that pilot project, which would utilize the trolley. I don't know if you want to jump in on that at all. But roughly our idea for this is that we could either find sponsors or host events with our neighboring communities where we could have a trolley that would come bring people from a neighboring community into the downtown for an evening, kind of market it as, come have dinner, do a little shopping. People could stay for 3-4 hours and then the trolley would take them back home. This would obviously be on days that were not conflicting with normal trolley time or events that we're having, but really as a way to bring people into Oxford, get them to know our businesses and our downtown, and hopefully get some people who aren't used to coming here into town and seeing the charm of our community.
Charm.
Charm, I like that. I like that.
Could be their logo. Okay, thank you. Promotion committee reports.
Promo committee was good. We also tabled the goals and objectives. Forget why.
Leanne,
Yeah.
we're waiting
of
for
course.
you. We want to wait for you.
And most of these items, we've already talked about, I think all of them.
Didn't mean to steal your thunder, Bryce.
That's usually how this one goes.
I know, sorry.
General promotion and advertising, that's just something that I'm doing as I can, as my time allows. Been a little busy this last month, but I think we covered everything else, so is there anything else you wanted to?
I would just say he's not giving himself enough credit, so he's helping us place money on our Facebook ads to make sure that it's reaching, the right demographic and further out, and that's his background, he knows that. So we'll chat about, okay, what's next, or we'll put a post and then he'll put dollars on it, sticking within the budget that we set. So it's really cool. And thank you for doing that because
Of course.
it takes one more thing off my plate too. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, it helps because we're on Facebook, but not everybody sees our posts on Facebook, and this just helps get the word out more.
Yeah.
You know, awesome stuff that's everybody's already working on.
The business info project, can you maybe explain that one?
That's what Reagan was talking about today.
I was
Oh,
going to
okay.
elaborate more
Oh,
on that
okay.
too.
Yep.
Would you
Okay.
mind emailing that to the group? You did a great
Yeah.
job.
You gotta be recognized.
Oh, sorry.
We're so formal.
Raise our hand.
Throw a dollar.
That's a
$5
different kind
for
of
you.
job.
But yeah, Leah, go ahead.
Sorry, thank you. I was just going to elaborate. Reagan did a beautiful job working on the flyer. So I was going to ask if you would email that to the group, just so everybody knows we're all on the same page. Because I think the subcommittee, we're planning, now that the flyer is complete, to kind of start breaking the town up into zones. And we're all going to take a handful of businesses and start knocking on doors and introducing ourselves. We have great t-shirts coming and name badges, and so they can start putting a face with the DDA. And we can explain a little bit more in person about what we do and how we can help them, and things that they can leverage for their business and stuff. So, perfect job on that. I just wanted everybody to see it and then know what we were going to be speaking to when we start walking the town.
With our charm.
Yes, with our time.
Yeah, I've mentioned a few times to different people. When I first became a member of the DDA board, myself and the board member visited businesses, and the reaction was pretty negative. Years ago, we got chased out of a few places. So
Gotta
it's
start
that
somewhere.
DDA, so it's such a nice contrast here to positive things going on. So. Okay, design committee. Oh, did use our format, didn't we?
Sorry. So Nicolette said she apologizes and she will do it next month.
Grace is
She
on.
forgot.
We're bound.
She forgot.
And it was kind of a different meeting.
It was.
Because we actually didn't meet in the offices, we actually were walking around downtown for this meeting, just trying to generate ideas, get a feel for the space, and see what we really wanted to focus on, what ideas we could generate. And despite the toxic air we put in there, because it was, when the forest fire was really affecting, my eyes were burning so bad. It was the worst day for that, but we did it anyway. We had some great discussions, talked about Centennial Park, updating the gazebo and maybe putting it back on, make it more of a bandstand rather than just having it an open gazebo since it's used for the concerts, and maybe it would help with some acoustics. The noise, walking up and down the street trying to reduce the noise from the gravel trucks is something that we would really like to focus on. If anybody has any ideas for sound barriers or anything like that, because when we were standing in Washington Square, what those trucks go by, it reverberates through there. And it makes the place it could be so much more pleasant with some sound barriers. So we wanted to get ideas on that. Talked about replacing the old cement tables in Centennial Park. They're kind of old and looking a little worn, I guess. And they're really heavy, we couldn't move them ourselves. So talked about the walls in Washington Square, getting the one red wall, it's red or brown. I don't
Yeah,
know.
reddish brown.
That wall, doing something there, rust, that would be a good definition. Doing something there to make it less messy. The lights we did look at, which was a nice addition. What else did we do? Oh, I talked about an idea for the trolley stop, maybe making it look more like a trolley stop. Maybe somehow decorating that, making it an area of focus. And then everyone really wanted to have some ideas for kids, something kids can do, permanent hopscotch or something, just something that kids can stop and play with when they're walking through the town, maybe something that their parents can encourage them to be good or you don't get to do the hopscotch, something like that. So, I think that's it. Anything else, Kelly?
Yeah, I think one of the only other things, so we've got quite a few that are, looking to join the design committee, and one of the moms actually mentioned to me, she said, when we were walking around, she said, I didn't know that we could come down to Washington Square and have lunch or just play anytime we wanted. So out of that came a focus, and we talked about it then in promo committee with Bryce, is, okay, let's try to market that a little bit better and let people know that this is a community space for all times of day and not just when events are coming over. I did see a couple times this week other families out there, and they had the Jenga out, and they were spending time down there, which made me really happy. So I'm hoping that it'll catch on, but I think our marketing, we can do a little bit better. So we talked about that and doing that.
Would that be something you could do with the elementary schools to alert them?
Yeah, so I think, there's a couple of ways we can do that, maybe not as much in the summer. Kelsey, is it called peach jar, is that right, that comes to all of us? So maybe something along those lines, or just partnering with the schools. I mean, the schools are so wonderful with us that they would send it out.
Grace?
I'm just wondering if maybe a sign on the shed might be helpful that also explained it. 'Cause I saw a shed like that recently at a different park in a different city where they also had like games and toys in it.
Okay.
And there was like a community rules sign on it. Like
Perfect.
what you see in a normal park. It's just like,
You're
please be respectful, put the toys away when you're done.
Yes.
But that could also have something on it like Washington Square,
That'd be
like
cute.
our
Great place to
community
hang it.
space, and then you have those like community guidelines on
Yeah.
there. That could just like live on the back of the shed. or
Okay,
something.
so Reagan's currently designing one, but I think that the rules is a great thing, like, please put your things away.
Yeah?
Good, clean up the connect board, right?
Just a quick random idea, is there a way we could maybe print small, postcard size flyers and just kind of dedicate a week with the restaurants, that they could hand those out with their menus when they place them on the tables, or with the bill at the end? That would just be a quick highlight of, just maybe it's more than just the kids stuff in town, but just some of the free stuff in town.
Marie,
it's
something like that as a
Is
restaurant
that- I don't
owner?
know if that works.
That's a lot for the staff
It
to
is it?
handle,
Okay.
yeah. But maybe a sign,
Or maybe even in the bathrooms,
yeah,
like,
a sign somewhere.
Okay.
yeah.
And
Maybe it's something that goes into the bags of Funky Monkey because
Sure.
they're right there.
That's a great idea if we're focusing on the
The
kid-friendly
kids,
stuff.
yeah. We could do that for
I'm
sure.
just thinking of a way to get the word out.
Yeah.
Any other comments? All set, exactly. Okay, old business? Anything? Comments? Okay, new business then. So Northeast Quad parking lot bids, right?
I feel like we've been talking about this forever. I mean, certainly
Yeah.
since I got here. So we finally had the bid process. It actually came in lower than we thought. Even like $40,000 lower than we first anticipated. So we do have it in the budget for this upcoming year. So after the bid process went through, Birmingham Seal Coat was about 4% higher than the lowest bid, but per the ordinance here for the village, if they're within the 7% in the township, then that is the bidder that we would go with. So what we would like to do today is just make the recommendation then to council to go forward with the project utilizing Birmingham Seal Code. And then village council would have to approve it next meeting, right, Joe? Okay, next meeting. Now, this would not be until a late fall project, though. We would be waiting. I just can't see us tearing up all of that parking lot midsummer. That's crazy to me. So,
Kelsey, that your capacity in the village council, what's the process? What would you think, how that goes in the council?
It should be very straightforward. I think the ordinance dictates, and the way we did the bid process, who we have to choose. So as long as
Yep.
everything's in order, it should be approved.
Peter, any comments from your experience in doing this?
Nope.
Okay. Kelly, what do we need to go forward from the DDA board? We need
Just
to
a
vote on this
recommendation.
to approve it?
I would like, oh,
Mr. Schultz?
I would make a motion to recommend to the Oxford Village Council that they award the contract for the northeast parking lot to Birmingham Seal Coat Incorporated in the amount of $247,816.30.
I'll second that. So it's been moved and seconded. How about some discussion? Leanne, Grace, Belzy, Marie?
I guess just make sure it's in the contract that if they want money up front.
Yeah.
yeah, this one is buttoned up, so, yeah,
Okay,
but thank you, yes.
good point, Catherine, thank you. And no discussion further? So Catherine, you take roll call, please?
Schultz,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Alves,
yes,
Golden, yes, Carrie,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Knopf,
Yes.
and Cook.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, I guess we're on 10B.
Yep, so the grant project updates, we've already talked a lot about it today. I really wanted to let you guys know that we might be taking some things out of the project behind Victoria's. For example, at first we had slotted in there a gas fireplace there, so with the gas lines running, and I know that that was very important to the design committee. But we ran into a little bit of an issue on the one behind Red Naps because we had to, after they came in and we were doing the walkthrough for the project again a few weeks ago, they decided that they needed more engineering done, the contractors who were doing the project. So to make sure that we got ahead of the Victoria's project this time, we just said, you know what, we're bringing in Rowe now. So it's gonna probably cost us it's not in yet, but it's gonna be around the $5,000 mark to have all of that engineered back there. So because of that, things are gonna have to go because we're on a budget and you know, we have the grant money and we're even using some from the Consumers Energy, which we told them in our application that we would be doing. But I think certain things are just gonna have to give, especially this year when we're putting most of our budget into the Northeast parking lot. But I just wanted you guys to be aware of, we're going back to Rowe and we're gonna need some additional engineering at this point.
So what are you leaving off specifically? You said a fireplace?
It's probably, the fireplace is a little over $10,000 to run the lines because most of the gas lines are in front of the building, so we literally have to go below the buildings and come back out. So that's why it's so costly. So instead of doing that, we're gonna take that money and we're just gonna transfer it to the engineering. I think two important reasons. One being that we're doing it right the first time, right? We're actually looking at all the underground work and we're making sure that in 5 years from now, the village isn't running into anything. And Joe has been through this whole thing with me and we've met with Rowe together. And we both see eye to eye on this. But then the other thing is just, I think that the gas fireplace is good to take out too, just from a liability standpoint. I'm gonna be honest with you, the more I looked at it, the more I researched it, the more it kept me up at night. So I think we're taking out the things that we've talked about. Go ahead, Joe, you can talk about it.
Oh, she answered it.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then, Pete, did you have a comment too? No? I assume Mr. Medora would care to speak at this point?
Yes, sir, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well,
Just speaking to that point, because there are several downspouts that then dump into almost like private little catch basins back there, and there's a lot of changes in the elevations back there. And our thoughts are, we could take those downspouts and put them underneath, put them collected into a catch basin that then can connect into the stormwater system in the parking lot. So to eliminate some of them, to eliminate some that might run over the surface, we want to eliminate those. So the engineering and stuff, we'll come back with a proposal to eliminate those. There's more than needs to be back there. We can probably share some of them into one underground basin and then connect that to the parking lot.
how far along that area you going? Just to Victoria's or past my building or past the party store or what?
At the end of the party store, or is it in itself, then it's in flux, I think.
It is, because what we're gonna do is we took the engineering all the way to the alleyway there. But we're waiting to see what that engineering comes back, how much underground work is gonna be necessary, and that's really gonna decide how far we're able to go. And then my thought process is the next 300,000 that we're hoping to get for placemaking is we continue on.
So right now, we're not really certain how far it's going.
Right now,
Our hope
it's
is
to
for
the end of the
alley.
party store, and that's where it's slotted for
And
currently.
I was just trying to think about how we coordinate the potential changes to the party store with what you're talking about.
It would already
saying
be
it twice.
behind the party store, it would stop at the saddle shop.
Okay, Grace?
I was just wondering, so in lieu of the fireplace, which I also had liability concerns, as I always do. But is there something like lower cost, like a seating arrangements or something that we could put in that space instead, so that someone, could still actively use that?
Yeah, so what we're doing behind Naps is, we have a grab cap that's gonna help us out with it, but it's one of the propane fireplaces that they can turn on during something at night at an event. But it sits up, it's at a table level, it's not a high flame. So we're gonna do that, so we'll still have that back there, it's just not gonna be a large, fire area. And then we have Adirondack chairs that are gonna go around that. So I still feel like at the end of the day, people aren't gonna know the difference. They're gonna be, around a fireplace still. It's still gonna be lovely.
Joe, for you, Pete, any comments from your experience about the fire lines, the gas lines, or anything like that?
No, good.
Okay, Joe?
That was all. I just wanted to say that some of the things that came up in the northeast quad working with the contractor, that at first they didn't think they wanted the topographical survey and stuff like that. And then when we did engineering out on the parking lot, then they were like, oh, well, now we better have this. So it's this back and forth with the contractor that's kind of caused some of this too. Now in the southeast quad, there's much more drain structures, even though there's several up in the northeast. And different elevations too. There's more elevation changes. It's not as flat in the southeast. So those things all coming together really make us believe that we need to make sure and get some engineering on that, right? Because they're going to be responsible for it once it's all done with, and we're going to end up responsible for it, and the water runoffs and connected it in and things like that. Try to eliminate some of the downspouts. The one behind the monogrammy shop, they had the large area where the tree was. We took that a couple years ago. That's going to be eliminated. Their downspouts come around the building and tie in. So some of those things, just trying to eliminate and make sure they get taken care of. So make it easier, less.
So,
less
water lines draining.
Yep.
And how about water coming into the buildings?
No changes there. The underground water infrastructure?
Yeah, you know, the buildings down in the southeast quadrant. Yeah, changes with any of that.
No, mostly just the water runoff the buildings, the downspouts, and some going to
I
it.
mean, like the waterfall that was next to mine that I
Yeah.
talked about.
Yeah, so it's feeding the water, the plants down there in the garden. Yeah, something like that.
We'll collect the water or something. Okay, 10C, trolley sponsorship. Who's up to bat on that?
We're getting ahead of this, okay? So.
Oh, we got
this-
more grant project updates. I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
No, that's it.
That's it?
Yep,
So we are on 10C?
yes.
10C.
Trolley sponsorship. So this is rolling out to the businesses in Lake Orion and Oxford. This is because our friends at Live tend to give us the runaround, and we want to make sure that we get ahead of it. So if they don't come back in January to sponsor, that we have sponsors to continuously run the trolleys. So we've put this program together, and we're going to some larger businesses to try to do this as well. But we're just kind of getting a feel from the businesses. Okay, you know, is this something that is doable? Should we do some inside options with barcodes? We're just really starting the conversation now to try to figure out, just get a pulse. So, but I just wanted to throw that in there so that you guys know what is coming. And then the Downtown Trolley Express with our logos are what is going on there regardless. So that's our new branding that'll be on there. That small picture that you see of Liv, that's not going to be green. That's just a placeholder for their branding. So don't worry, we're not going to have that beautiful green on that trolley. But we're working with them right now on their logos, but ours will be on there. It's in production, this large logo, but it is just a cling. So anytime we do want to change it, it can always update. And then on the back of the trolley, it'll be like, Eat, Dine, Shop logo. So be real cute.
Kelly, what's the financial obligation for our friends from Orion?
Yeah, so everything they've been splitting right now, while Liv is still behind on paying, they've been paying the trolley bills because Liv is really their sponsor, even though we're kind of shared. That sponsorship is through Lake Orion, and it's through the village of Lake Orion. So to not muddy anything, they're just taking it on financially. If we had to come back and pay per month, it's still less than $1,500 a month for us. So can we afford it? Yes. So if we didn't have any sponsors, we would be fine. It's just I would rather that not come out of our budget.
Grace?
Oh, I really like the look of this and the logo and everything. My only question, which is probably already happening, the ones that are going in the windows, are those going to be like a public bus where you can see through it from the inside?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. You can see out. It would not. Yeah. Everybody would be able to see out. No problem. We did make sure. Same thing on the back there, Grace. That where Lives is.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Do like the dotted.
Yep.
How did you guys ever anticipate that? I'm just amazed. I'm impressed. I'm like,
Yeah.
really? You thought of that already?
Yeah.
I've
Yep.
ridden on a lot of buses. Sometimes
I do have to say, I was driving through town this weekend and the trolley passed and it was full and my heart was just so joyful. So it was very cool.
Okay. Ken?
Okay, I just wanted to just go over this really quick with you guys. So this is what I mentioned earlier. I just wanted to say how large I think this is going to be for our community. This doesn't take any money off the top when our businesses sell online. For our restaurants and for people who host events, like Marie has a band and has to sell tickets, it doesn't take money off the top to sell tickets, which most do. Some of our businesses already sell with a Shopify account, this links directly to it, so it doesn't make more work for them. They can literally upload all of their inventory with one click, and it'll pull right out of their system. The businesses, if they're not comfortable with shipping, there is a point on here where they can select backdoor pickup. And so I think this is going to be a great way for, especially for our businesses that, one, are not selling online, and two, ones that don't have the money to run an e-commerce platform. I mean, this is huge, and it's a very easy system, and I'm just so grateful to the county for paying into this, because this is something financially that we could never do on our own, to pay $60,000 for a website, and then literally they're going to have to pay more than $25,000 a year to keep it going. So this is just so big for our community. I'm really excited, and also because we're one of the pilot communities that get to run this. We're one of 6 communities. Just the promotion that's going to come around our community when this launches, I think is just incredible. So we will figure out, probably I'll meet with you, Bryce, once we launch in a couple of weeks, to figure out, once they put their marketing out, how we can just capitalize on it. But to be able to purchase from 3 different stores in the community but have one checkout, I just think it's going to really set us apart.
It is.
I just have a question about the sustainability of that. Did the county indicate how long they're going to be paying into this? Because did they use like COVID relief money?
They did not use any type of ARPA funding or anything. This is actually budgeted through Main Street, and they put it in, they took this to the executive levels, and the executive team actually went through it and approved it. So I feel really good that this is here to stay. The big investment was the build out, so which they've already paid. And for us, even if it came down to then the 28 communities, once it expands, it would still not cost us more than $1,000 a year for all those communities. So even if Main Street said, you know what, it's not our budget, can you guys pay $1,000 a year? 100% yes. I mean, that is nothing compared to what it's going to do for our businesses.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
No water bills can be paid.
Just a funding source.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Okay. We all set then, Kelly?
Yep.
Okay. So we're on 11. Nothing's been removed from the consent agenda. All right. One thing I'd like to say, it's been a great couple years so far. We've been really doing a lot of things here. Pete, what do you know, and Catherine, Marie, and you know, I think the DDA's been just soaring for so long, right? Let's soar! Yay!
I didn't have my bingo ready. That was great. I should have known when you come in with a box ride. We did not add this to the agenda at the beginning.
What?
We did not add this to the agenda at the beginning, and
Correct.
we were supposed to.
Oh, the job plan.
I thought you were going to take it under advisement. That's
Just
well,
advisement.
Pete's comments of it earlier. They changed it later.
Oh, it was all good. We're all set.
Yeah.
We're good.
Next time.
I don't know what your time frame is, so
Next month, okay.
I'm just saying.
Table. No,
I thought
we're okay.
Pete commented earlier how we got this one, I'll take it under.
It's all right. Yeah, next month, okay. right, Joe.
I was just here for that item number 12.
Are you public comment?
You're public 12,
No.
board member comments?
Board member.
That's right, you're
I'm an ex-con convict, or ex-official member.
ex officio.
Ex-official, that's it.
Okay,
Well,
let's start
some of
with
those
this.
extras.
Since you've got the microphone, you're first.
Thank you. So I'll start backwards. To the contract for the northeast parking lot, it's a Pro Engineering. It'll be a full-fledged contract. It's about an inch thick. It has pay apps that are reviewed by unit pricing for all the stuff goes into the ground. All the insurance is in place. It has liquidated damages and stuff in it, but if they go beyond the date of the project start dates and things like that. So it's a full-fledged infrastructure contract that we do with our consultant, Bro. They review, they'll be on site, do all the inspections, tallying up everything, doing daily reports. They'll produce the as-built plans once it's all completed for our records and things like that. So just to let you know when that gets let. And when you said late fall, we don't want to go too late, but it's, because of the weather, the way the weather can turn at the end of October, right? So we're hoping to get
Talks
the
like mid-September to
Yeah.
start-ish.
Yeah. So mid-September, hopefully it's all done and buttoned up by middle of October.
Yeah.
Electric vehicle charging stations, you're aware that we already approved 2 of them with state contracting in the southeast and southwest quad last year sometime, maybe September, I think we might have signed it. One of them is installed, all waiting the meters to be installed from DTE right here behind the pharmacy. The one over in the southeast quad, we were going to put it right next to on the east side of the monogram shop. That's where our electric panel is for our downtown lighting. And that's why we chose those locations, because we thought, well, we can come right out of that panel, or we can even mount the equipment in the panel. Well, neither of those panned out with DTE. There wasn't enough space in the panels, wasn't enough power in the panels. They had to do their own drop. So the one over on the east side of the monogram shop, we're relocating. It's going to be out behind the theater now. There's a parking island out back, and a couple of handicap spots, and then the spots on the opposite side of that. So that's where that EV charging station will end up being. We just relocated it. It wasn't going to work well there. It was going to be too much stuff in the way of the parking, the sidewalk area. It was going to block some of the mural and things like that. So the fact that we weren't going to capitalize on the existing cabinet there, now we just moved it to a different location. So now the northeast and northwest quad council has approved, and we just sent it over this week or last week. The northwest lot will be against the back wall, just south of the dumpster enclosure. Actually, we may even mount some of those meter socket equipment on the dumpster south wall, dumpster enclosure wall. And then on the east side, it'll be after the parking lot project, right where the pole is on the church, on the east side there, where we're kind of the parking along there stops at the church yard. Then there's a pole. That's where the first 2 spots, this side, this south of the pole, is where that EV charging station will be. So again, I'm not sure the time frame of those. This is something we just now approved. A lot of it, we've got the addresses already from the fire department for the DTE locations and metering locations, so that's in place and moving forward. DPW, it's that time of year we're wrapping up our budget and year end, things like that. So I just want to give you a rundown of where we're at year to date. There's 2 areas predominantly in downtown that the DPW works in. The downtown maintenance, which is general stuff, and then the parking lots maintenance themselves. Year to date, we have a couple weeks left in our payroll too. Our expenditures, payroll, and equipment for the DPW is at $173,000 and change. So just to let you know, they're out there doing a lot of work. Sometimes they might be fixing catch basin drain structure in the north end of this northwest lot, things like that. They've ordered new parking, cement parking stops. You may have seen those. There's new sleeves over the poles you see by the brick walls and things like that. You see old and needed stuff, you have to put now plastic sleeves over them, things like that. So some of it was related to the project last year, the entrances and stuff like that. But hopefully it gets down a little less next year. But still, there's a lot that goes into the downtown that looks beautiful, that's right. You guys are all aware of all that's going on there. Just want to let you know those guys are out there being very busy. Cleaning out behind the dumpsters and around the dumpster enclosures. They do that once a month. They go around the downtown area predominantly and jet the sewer lines just to keep up on the buildup in the sewer. That doesn't get shown up anywhere in the downtown maintenance, but that's just something that we do because of the restaurants and things like that to make sure things keep flowing. So that's about it.
Very good, thank you. Okay. So further board member comments. Pete, start with you, please.
I'd like to commend Kelly and Kim and Megan for their very informational meeting that we just had, and all the information that they compiled to that. Megan doing a great job. I think that part of what we've been asking for years to try to get that, directory put together of all the properties. So I think that's a great accomplishment coming off and it's working through. Farmers Market should be exciting, everything coming up on it. So I think this Thursday is going to be a great kickoff to the entire summer. So looking forward to it. Catherine?
Great work, everyone. Thanks.
I agree. It's nice to be the third or fourth or fifth. No, I'm super excited about the Oakland County business site. That's going to be absolutely awesome. Yeah, because that's an area that I think a lot of businesses struggle with. They don't have the funding or the knowledge to go out and set up their own e-commerce sites, and for that to be available, basically free of charge.
And I want to see all the cool T-shirt designs and stuff that's on that site.
Yeah, we do have a separate market for that. So
Yeah.
I'm going to figure out but someone will figure out how I can integrate all that.
Yeah.
Good,
So
yeah.
thank you.
Have to second Pete as well. I think these ladies are doing a bang up job. All the little projects. You guys rock.
Retweet.
You would.
All right, Grace.
Oh, Grace, will you mention these because I forgot? Grace, our very own Grace, painted these by hand for our market.
Oh, those are great.
Aren't they
I
beautiful?
just, the plastic sign we had last year, it just, that makes sense more.
Yeah.
So we have two. We have one for Burdick Street and one for M24 for our
There will
market.
be one for either side.
Yes, tools.
And this is washable so that we can change next year if we need to.
It's also magnetic, so if we wanted to use it for the Christmas market, we could, put a whole magnet over the whole thing, or just swap it out or do anything like that.
So thank you for doing that.
So yeah, I was thinking that could help zhuzh up the outside of the market a little bit. If you guys haven't been to Washington Square at night since they put the lights in, definitely do it. It is such a nice, warm atmosphere now, and as someone who walks through that area a lot at nighttime, it just makes it less of an empty, abandoned parking lot feel, which is what all the improvements we've been doing to that space has just, removed that a bit. And I have to say, it's just it's so much nicer walking back and forth there at nighttime now. So yeah, definitely go check that out. And good luck to everyone on Thursday. I'm unfortunately going to be out of town when we kick off the market and the concerts, so send me pictures.
I have 3 updates of things that council's working on that may be of interest to the DDA board here. So council's been talking about a rental inspection for quite some time now. I'm not sure where this will fall, but we are kind of moving forward talking about it a little more seriously. So that would impact any of our business owners who maybe have rental properties above their buildings in town, in the DDA district. And so I think council's looking for a handful of things to be inspected, but it could require significant cost to some of the property owners. So just something to be aware of, and if anyone wants to weigh in, please attend the council meeting and speak under public comment on that. The second thing is the village council is working on adopting a food truck ordinance that will be as close to or the same as the townships as possible. So that way any food trucks who are in Oxford will all be regulated for inspection through an ordinance that's the same. This ordinance would not, which is my understanding, specify where food trucks could be. I know a lot of our business owners have concerns about food trucks one way or the other, so I don't think we're getting into that at this point. I think it's just a safety aspect. And then the third thing is regarding the property at 32 East Burdick. You may notice that there are a couple for sale signs in the adjacent parcels. So the parking lot area is not for sale, but there are 2 other sites there that are. And we're working on an escrow agreement so that if those sites do sell, that proceeds from the sale would be escrowed, so we can make sure the parking lot work is done. That's it.
That's great.
Thanks.
I retweet, but I can't. Again, thanks for all the work you guys have done. Kelly, it's been phenomenal. And like I said, Kelly really changed over since you became director. So the things you talked about, it's been phenomenal. I'm not going to speak to you that much anymore. And also the board, by the way, from my experience, the board, Dorothy, Pete too, as far as being around, I think the board's been pretty good working together. I mean, I do see a pretty good group of people here. It's nice to have a collegial relationship and get things done. So it's been a real noticeable improvement in our DA board over the last couple of years. That's about it, I think, really, other than let's just keep soaring.
More plates?
Cheers.
All the things.
All right. Meeting adjourned at, what is it, 8:10?
Oh, quick.
Bravo.